Welcome to Jersey Line. Pat O'Melia here, your pro football prognosticator. Did pretty good last week. I think I went, what was it, 8-6, 8-7? But the big thing was I hit on like 6 of the FanDuel bets, and each one of them were an over-under. So that's why our kitty is at $445. We went from like $210 to $545. So we had a very good week with FanDuel. Hopefully I can replicate it. But we tape these shows prior to the Thursday night game, and you really want to try to hold off some of the picks until Sunday when these lines settle. There was a big change in the line just from Wednesday to Thursday when I come into tape. So it's tough really predicting these 3 or 4 days ahead of time. But I will venture to do it. Thursday night, we have Dallas at New Orleans. Both of these teams are going the wrong way. New Orleans, I understand. And if you listened to me last week, I told you, I'm taking New Orleans. You would be wise to bet against me, and you would have been wise because you would have won. No matter what I do in New Orleans, I lose every time. They're quarterback starved right now. I think their all-purpose player, the quarterback, is coming back this week from a toe injury. But their running backs were out. They're decimated, New Orleans. Dallas, they're getting the receivers back. Lamb is back, and Amari Cooper is back. So they should be a little bit better. But, you know, they fell off a cliff. They were putting up points and just dropped right down. But I'm looking for them to beat up New Orleans in New Orleans. I'm going to take Dallas -5 with an over-under of 47.5. 1 o'clock game, Sunday, Minnesota at Detroit. Won that game last week. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers, wherever you were. Was that the Aaron? Yeah, that was there. Aaron was playing them. He also won that San Francisco game. No, San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco beat Minnesota. I won the Aaron Rodgers also won for me last week. 1 o'clock game, I'm going to take Minnesota, -7 against Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's going to win a game sometime this year, hopefully. They tied one, but I don't think it's this week. I'm going to take Minnesota, -7, over under 46.5. FanDuel bet. Oh, by the way, Dallas was a FanDuel bet. I'm sure Mike's got that on the screen. Arizona at Chicago. The Red Rifle is starting. Andy Dalton. Everybody is now back for Arizona. You know, Murray's going to be starting. I think they've got to get back in sync, so I think it will be a full offense for Arizona. So I'm going to take Arizona. It's a big spot, 7.5. I'm going to take Arizona on FanDuel, 7.5. A low on the over-under, if you ask me, at 45.5. 1 o'clock game, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I went back and forth on this. For that matter, my original sheet, before I write up the cards, I had Atlanta +11. But something in the back of my mind is saying, Tom Brady's going to get it going, even though Antonio Brown is still not back. But Gronk is. 1 o'clock game, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay, big spot, -11, over-under of 50.5. Tampa Bay -11. 1 o'clock game, Indianapolis at Houston. Lost with that last week. I took Indy against Tom Brady. Tom Brady, what was the final line? 36, 33, something like that? I'm going to go with Indianapolis. I figure they're kind of angry. And you can't get a better team outside of the New York Jets to take your anger out on than Houston. Even though Tyrod Taylor is back, I'm going to take Indianapolis -9.5, over-under of 45.5. 1 o'clock game, Philadelphia at the New York Football Jets. I think that Philadelphia is far more advanced than the Jets are. Zach Wilson is starting. I think he's still a bit injured, but they just ran out of quarterbacks with the Jets. I'm going to go with Philly, -7, big spot there, over-under of 45.5. FanDuel game, 1 o'clock. Two good teams, two teams I like. The LA Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Cincinnati's put it all together. They put a whooping on Pittsburgh last week. I'm going to take Cincinnati -3, big over-under, 50.5. 1 o'clock game, my football Giants are at Miami. It's where I got the white jersey on. I think Miami's got it going. I think Tuba is showing that, you don't need to trade for Deshaun Watson to Miami. I think Tuba's got it. I'm going to go with Miami, -4.5, with an over-under of 40.5. That is an incredibly low over-under. So I'm taking Miami. minus 4.5. FanDuel bet, Washington. I was one of my winners last week. My wife was against that. I took Washington plus 1.5 at Seattle. Washington pulled it out 17-15, but I got a little close at the end there. I'm going to ride with Washington. There's another team I have a problem with, the Las Vegas Raiders. Whatever I say, the opposite happens. But I think Washington with Heineke, the quarterback, I think they got it going. I'm going to take Washington plus 2.5, over under 49.5. FanDuel, 4 o'clock game. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh done. Stick the fork in. They're done. It's a shame for a great career for Big Ben, but he's going to go out. He's going to go out the bad way. I'm going to go with Baltimore minus 4.5, over under a 44.5. I think they'll score some points in that game. 4 p.m. game, Jacksonville at Rams. Huge spot here. Now, the Rams, Aaron Rodgers beat them up last Sunday. I had that one. It's time for Matthew Stafford to show, can he put it together? You know, they're in danger of maybe not making the playoffs. You know, they've lost the last 3. Stafford has thrown pick 6 in 3 of those games. It is time. You got Odell Beckham there. It's time to get it all in place. Von Miller's there. He was making penalties last week against the Packers. I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm figuring they're going to get it on all 8 cylinders. Minus 13, big spot. You got to worry about a backdoor cover on that. Rams minus 13, over under a 47.5. 4 o'clock game, San Francisco at Seattle. If there's one team that's got it going on, it's San Francisco. And it's not by the air. They're running the ball. But Jimmy G, when he needs to throw it, he's throwing it. Seattle, I think Russell, I think his hand, his thumb is still a problem. They're just not right. There has got to be a change there. Like I said last week, it's either Russell or Carroll. And when it comes to that, it's usually the coach. I'm going to take San Francisco minus 3.5, over under 45.5. Late game, Sunday. Should be a good game. A big rivalry game here. Denver at KC. KC, it looks like they're back on track here. It's a big spot, 9.5. You kind of like Denver. You know, I always like Teddy Bridgewater. Also, I like Andrew Luck, but for some reason they've moved on from Andrew Luck. I'm going to take KC minus 9.5, over under 47.5. And Monday night, this is probably, I would say, the game of the week. FanDuel, New England at Buffalo. Buffalo needs to crank it up and get back on track. New England is playing a tremendous brand of football. This is Bill Belichick football. The new quarterback, Mac Jones, is executing the offense just the right way. I think Buffalo pulls this. I think they squeak it. It's a small spot. It's 2.5. Buffalo minus 2.5 with a very low over-under of 42.5. Remember, bet smart. Don't bet a lot of money. You can do these over and unders. You can bet like $5 on it. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to bet the rent. Just bet a little bit to make the game enjoyable beyond just the sport itself. Good luck. I'll see you next week, as hopefully we continue our good luck. Good night.